Brock, saw your most recent video, and I have to say it was a fairly good video. Your complaints about secular humanism being a religion and opposed to Christianity is pretty much on the mark. So in this case, instead of entirely missing the broadside of a barn, you've actually come very close to your target, if your target is secular humanism. However, if your target is atheism, you've again missed the mark by a mile. Because secular humanism, well, it is atheistic, but atheism is not secular humanism. This is a common logical failure seen in many arguments, and it's something that's actually covered in, say, a geometry class. X may be a member of Y, but that does not necessitate that Y is X. So, and that's exactly what you've done in this case. If your assertion was correct, if secular humanism directly equaled atheism, then all these other atheistic religions would also be secular humanist religions. Buddhism wouldn't be called Buddhism, it'd be called secular humanism. Taoism wouldn't be called Taoism, it'd be called secular humanism. But they're not, because those religions do have their own traditions, and they have their own rules and laws and religious texts and religious ideals. Secular humanism has its own that is separate from those. However, they all do fall under the concept of atheism, in other words, the non-belief in the existence of a deity. So, Brock, you've done a pretty good job here in discussing secular humanism versus Christianity and the conflict between the two. But at the end of your video, equating secular humanism with all of those of us that are, well, godless by your words, well, you've missed it. Now, a quick note about schools. Schools are neutral on the subject of God. And I do mean neutral, because schools don't teach that a God does not exist. Neither do schools teach that a God does exist. That's the concept of neutrality in schools that is supported by separation of church and state. They are not teaching atheism, Brock. Sorry, but they're not. They're also not teaching Christianity, which I'm not sorry about. They are teaching neither. Now, honestly, in my view, I think schools and school systems should have a mandatory class on religions. And I don't mean just one religion or the other, but I mean the entire concept of religion and the entire concept of what it means to be religious. Personally, I think it should be a 2-semester course in most schools. How they would fit that into the current curriculums, I don't know. But, at least if we had a course like that in most schools, kids wouldn't grow up believing the things that you do, Brock. They'd actually grow up knowing what the issues are and knowing what the difference is between different religions and different religious views, including non-religious views, instead of having some, well, I'm not really sure I can think of a proper term regarding your ideology in this case. So, again, it was a better video than you've done in the past. You didn't, well, inadvertently overgeneralize a group of people, though you kind of tried, but it wasn't too bad. You didn't spout scientifically inaccurate claims as though they were the waters of truth from God himself, which is better than you've done. But you've still made mistakes. In this case, specifically in equivocation, trying to claim that X is Y, instead of X being a subset of Y, and Y not being X. So, again, one last time, kudos on that video. It wasn't too bad. So I'm going to take my leave of you now.